And the entire world thought, what a great beginning now for, a remodeling of the monarchy, to have, this prince and his wife, a divorcee, and an American, a woman of mixed race.
They really hate each other now, and they cannot
know that story that looks flawless from the outside, the kind that makes everyone sigh with envy. But when you step closer, you notice shadows lurking behind every smile? That's the story of Prince Harry. The world believed he'd finally found liberation, found a love that understood him, someone who promised light in the darkness. But the truth was far more sinister. What he stumbled into wasn't freedom, it was a gilded cage. And Meghan Markle? She wasn't just a part of his life, she was the architect. Every gesture, every word, every carefully crafted moment stacked like bricks, building walls lined with charm, ambition, and a quiet cunning that no one saw coming. You thought he was in love. You thought he was free. But for Harry, it was a trap masked as devotion. Everyone remembers the old Harry, the rogue, the playful spark, the prince who could break rules with a grin that made the monarchy almost human. That Harry is gone. Vanished. And it's not because he left the palace. No, he walked straight into something far more controlling, far more subtle, far more suffocating than anything royal protocol could ever inflict.
Here, mate. But on stage, when they knew everyone was filming on their mobile phones and taking pictures, it got even worse.
Honest, this isn't the Harry we once knew. Look into his eyes, and you'll see it. That mischievous spark, that playful glint that once lit up every room, now extinguished. He carries a weariness that didn't belong to him before, a weight that makes every word feel measured, every smile rehearsed. It's as if he's forgotten how to simply exist, how to simply be, and yet, the world calls it independence. But if this is freedom, why does it feel like heartbreak painted in public? When Meghan Markle entered the royal orbit, the world went wild. Fairy tale headlines, Hollywood glamour colliding with palace tradition, a self-made icon transforming into princess. Cameras flashed, stories ignited, and the world drank up the glow of a romance that seemed untouchable. But behind the glitter, the real story was just beginning, and it wasn't a fairy tale.
I was beautifully surprised when I walked into that room and saw her, and there she was sitting there. I was like...
When Meghan Markle stepped into the royal spotlight, it wasn't just a series of perfect photos or glowing headlines. Beneath the sparkle, something far more deliberate was at play, something sharp, calculated, and quietly unstoppable. Meghan didn't simply drift into Harry's life by chance. Long before they ever met, she had been orbiting the royal world with precision, rubbing shoulders with the Soho House crowd, networking with PR power players, weaving connections that seemed almost fated. Call it destiny if you like. Those on the inside call it strategy.
Since then, as our network grew, we've seen the full scope of what we're facing. We've witnessed the explosion of unregulated artificial intelligence.
Her used to joke that she had a vision board with Harry's face plastered on it. Funny? Maybe once. But looking back, it barely feels like a joke. Every move she made, every word she spoke, every carefully staged appearance, it was all choreographed, executed with precision, designed to land exactly where she wanted. When she finally met him, it was flawless. Harry didn't stand a chance, not because he was weak, but because he was open, tender, haunted by loss, and still carrying the shadow of Diana's absence. He ached for someone who truly understood him, and Meghan didn't just see that. She dissected it. She mapped his fears, his loneliness, every crack in his armor, and stepped straight into that gap like she'd been rehearsing for it her entire life. She didn't merely love him. She mastered him, whispering exactly the words he longed to hear. They'll never let you be free, Harry, but I will. And he believed it, but the freedom she offered was a mirage. Not freedom from the palace, freedom from everyone else. From the outside, it shimmered like liberation, but it was control dressed as love. The palace bound him with protocol. Meghan bound him with emotion, subtle, soft, devastatingly effective. One of them became the director, the other unknowingly the lead actor in a story he didn't realize he was starring in. And here's the terrifying part: emotional manipulation never arrives like a storm. It begins quietly, like sunlight slipping through a window. Gentle, loving, intoxicating. She never commanded him to cut ties. She suggested, "They don't understand you, Harry. They don't want you to be happy. A line here, a whisper there, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, his world began to shrink. Old army friends faded, Invictus teammates drifted away, charities went silent, his circle of trust quietly disintegrated, built, cold communication. And then, the most devastating blow, William. A bond that had survived everything, now fractured, almost unrecognizable. Harry and William used to laugh without restraint, fight without malice, and stand side by side through scandals, grief, and heartbreak. But Meghan's influence crept in like poison, subtle, quiet, corrosive. One brother tried to warn, the other returned home, repeating her words, "He's jealous." What began as a simple, loving conversation morphed into betrayal. All the while, Harry thought he was protecting her, and that's how she controlled the story. Every royal ritual twisted into oppression. Every gesture of family love reframed as hostility. Every word of advice recast as an attack. The unraveling didn't come in a storm, a scandal, or an argument. It came in invisible shifts. Microscopic changes that quietly ate away at him. Slowly, one by one, the people who knew the real Harry, the soldier, the brother, the prankster, the friend, began vanishing from his life, like they had been edited out of the script. And the cruelest part? He didn't even see it. He believed he was choosing peace, choosing love. But what he was really choosing was isolation, dressed as protection. She had him exactly where she wanted him, emotionally tethered, convinced that no one understood him, utterly sure that only she could shield him from the people who had loved him first. This wasn't love, it was control served in a golden chalice, and that is emotional capture in its most insidious form. You don't feel imprisoned, you feel chosen, defended. You feel as though the world is the villain, and the one isolating you is your guardian angel. Harry kept calling it independence from the royals. But true independence doesn't look like disappearance. It doesn't mean becoming untouchable, unreachable, needing permission just to breathe. Every choice, every opinion, every conversation, every judgment of right and wrong, filtered through Meghan's lens. By the time anyone noticed, he was already trapped inside a bubble she had painstakingly constructed. In that bubble, she was always right, everyone else always wrong. Harry hadn't married a partner. He had married a universe, her universe. And when your universe belongs to someone else, you do too. The collapse of Harry and William's bond wasn't sudden. It wasn't explosive. It was quiet, relentless, eroding. What should have taken decades happened in months. William tried, gently, to reach him. But Meghan twisted every word into jealousy, judgment, a personal attack. And Harry accepted it. One conversation became a battlefield. William became the enemy. And suddenly, the once unbreakable brotherhood froze over. It was no longer Harry and William. It was Harry and Meghan versus the world. Even Diana's memory couldn't bridge the gap. Every royal tradition became suffocating. Every family gesture, hostile. Every piece of advice, manipulation. Meghan played the outsider, vulnerable, misunderstood, in need of rescue. And Harry, emotionally tender, protective, eager to shield those he loved, became her perfect soldier. The tragedy is cinematic. The man who once joked with William before cameras now barely meets his gaze. Warmth replaced by frost, a frost that took root the moment Meghan whispered, "He doesn't want you to be happy." From there, the descent was swift. Harry grew quieter, cautious, tentative. Watch any interview. He doesn't speak freely. He glances, he waits, he checks her reaction before he even finishes a sentence. Afraid to say anything unsanctioned. That is not partnership. That is permission. Psychologists call it identity erosion. The slow, imperceptible loss of one's inner voice as someone else quietly turns the volume down. Harry wasn't merely influenced, he was rewritten, polished, politically correct, predictable, exhausted. A man running on emotional fumes while the world applauds a power couple, and the world praises her, strong, visionary, bold. But strong women don't extinguish the light of those they claim to love. Strong women don't clip their partner's wings. Strong women don't erase the person standing next to them until he forgets who he once was. Watch their interviews closely. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but chilling. Every time Harry tries to speak from the heart, she interrupts, not to help, not to add, but to redirect, to twist his words, to cage his truth before it even escapes. His eyes flinch, his shoulders stiffen. Instantly, he adapts. That's not love. That's conditioning, and yet, the world calls it teamwork. He doesn't look free. He looks supervised. She commands the pace, the tone, the narrative. She doesn't raise her voice. She just tilts her head, tightens her lips, and Harry reshapes himself like a student terrified of failing an unseen exam. Her power is silent, precise, lethal. Who sits where? Who speaks first? How long he may speak before she takes control. And every time she does it, the world cheers, mistaking domination for empowerment. Behind closed doors, it's worse. Peace only exists on her terms. Push back, even slightly, and the air shifts, cold, withdrawn, lethal in its stillness. Harry seeks harmony, but it comes at the cost of himself. Slowly, imperceptibly, the soldier who carried Diana's legacy disappears. The brother who laughed, grieved, and joked with William fades. The playful, rule-breaking prince who made royalty seem human, erased. Now he speaks in rehearsed sound bites, delivering someone else's story. His eyes have lost their sparkle, weighed down by constant vigilance, searching for approval he once never needed. The world applauds their love story, but the reality is far darker. Harry believes he's free, but freedom shouldn't feel like exhaustion. It shouldn't feel like losing yourself. Freedom isn't permission. He didn't escape control, he stepped into a quieter, softer, deadlier version of it. Piece by piece, the prince the world adored has been fading, and the deeper you look, the more tragic it becomes. The cruelest part? He doesn't even see it. He believes this is love. He believes the distance from family, the silence, the pressure to protect her, is loyalty. But real loyalty doesn't demand self-erasure. Real love doesn't erase the people who made you who you are, yet that's exactly what happened. His entire emotional compass now spins on her approval. If she sanctioned it, it's right. If she disapproved, it's wrong. Over time, Harry lost trust in his instincts. Every word is second-guessed, every gesture calculated. Today, he recites lines like a man trapped in a PR script. Raw emotion, once effortless, now polished, packaged, rehearsed. And yet, beneath the exhaustion, beneath the staged smiles, flashes of the old Harry peek through. A laugh that slips. A spark in his eyes. Tiny reminders that the man the world loved still exists, buried but not gone. Those fleeting moments are fragile, but they're profound. They reveal the truth. This isn't just a royal saga. It's a silent war inside a man, torn between who he was, who he has become, and who he may never be again.